Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Doc T with Dr. Deonson.
Hey.
We are at SHARC Doc Talk.
We can just re-roll.
It's one of those days. No, really fresh. I like it fresh. I like it off the cuff. SHARC Doc Talk. Hey, I knew I'd get it. We're going to continue with part 2 here of our flexibility, mobility, stability portion here, which a lot of you are looking forward to, I hope. It's a fascinating little world. I took a deep dive over the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he did.
And I say deep, I'm talking a lot of hours. Because it's things that I studied, no offense, young man, back when I was your age.
Yeah.
And it just became part of the way I processed information. So I stopped really thinking about it in detail. And it dawned on me, if I'm going to stand in front of a camera and talk about it with you, especially because you're a smart guy. He had the gold tassels for graduation. I had the graduation tassels.
I'll say this much. It's because I figured out how to take their tests.
Yeah, well,
that's part of it.
You got one on me on that one. And so it's one of those things that I was looking back through it all, and I kind of remembered why it was such a rabbit hole, because you do have all these semantic problems that you run into that we're going to get into in a bit in here.
Yeah.
But first, one thing I love to do is check in, and I think we skipped the knee a little bit, because have you done your single leg closed eyes work yet?
Hold
on, I got to guess.
No, I did.
Wait.
It was... Oh, I didn't do it single leg. I did double. My bad. I misunderstood.
Well, at least the eyes were closed.
It felt weird.
I bet it did.
It did.
How so? Fill in the blanks.
In some ways, it's just when I break the ground on some of the deadlifts, I realized...
When you break the ground, Hulk? What do you mean?
When I break the ground. So when the weights are... I'm starting to bend the bar a little bit so
you mean
the weights
when
come
you're
up.
ready to lift?
When I'm ready to lift.
Yeah.
So when...
Break the ground now.
Yeah, when you break the ground off the lift there.
Breaking grounds.
I felt in my initial one, because I've been compensating a little bit for the knee, I was shooting forward a little bit.
Yeah.
So instead of it being really good bar slack getting out of it, I was shooting forward a little too much. I was using a lot more of my low back.
Right.
So
now, was that a mobility problem, a stability problem, or a motor nerve problem?
All the above.
Correct. Those are all right.
So after like warming up that way and being a little bit more intentional about getting my lats active on some of the lifts, just to like pop the bar off.
We should talk about that too.
That could be fun. That's also a fun little 45-minute tangent we could go on.
That is crazy how much that matters.
Just doing that part, I was able to really sit into my hips for the deadlift, and my final product looked cleaner. I still had a little bit of a hip shift going on there,
true.
but it was much better.
Do you do anything to groove? I mean, now mind you, we're doctors to you who pay us and see us to make sure you do it right. We are dumb enough to not do it right. So I can ask this question thinking I know the answer. Did you do anything prior to groove the pattern of the lift before lifting? And please don't say deadlifting to practice deadlifting. It's like running to practice to run.
That day, or just like in general?
That day.
That day, it was... I just deadlifted with the bar slowly.
So that's a no.
Yeah.
So what I'm referring to is, and not to jump in, just it's one of those things. There's one great move. You've probably seen it and or done it.
I probably have done it.
PVC pipe banded to the rack.
Yeah.
And you just get your lats. Yeah. It's a wonderful pattern groove, but it's better if you do it with you, because it'll allow you to almost sit back in your hips a little bit, because that band's gonna hold you.
What's funny is I do prescribe that for patients.
Everybody, yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. There's a lot of things I've learned. When we get to me, I'll tell you, remind me, that I give to patients that I've now started doing 21 years later. It just took me a while to get there. I'm slow. Yeah. I'm a slow learner.
Yeah. And it's always funny that we do that, because there'll be some times where I'll be talking to a bench press thing I'm going to mute that mic before everything goes everywhere. I'll be talking to a patient about like bench press stuff when my shoulder's feeling funky, and I think about it. I'm like, why didn't I just do what I know I'm supposed to do? Yeah.
It's like somehow you think magically you're just going to fix yourself because mentally you know what to do.
Just because you're strong.
And so it'll just happen. I'll just keep doing my thing. Yeah. But my body knows how to fix itself. My innate is flowing. Anyway, continue.
No shots fired at that one.
No shots fired.
But yeah, it was definitely, at least it looked better on film, and it felt better for my last one. So funny enough, there's this whole concept of bar speed that happens with athletics when you're pulling that heavy, which is true. The bar speed was slower, but overall everything looked better. It was slower, at least in my perspective, just because I haven't been doing that in a little bit. So the groove of that pattern is a little weird right now.
But it's completely like learning to walk again.
But it felt better. Yeah. So.
And the reason that is, when we say learning to walk, is because when you have an injury, and we're going to talk about it today a little bit, it throws off everything, just out the window. And because the human body is the human body, it grasps on to the most closest sense of efficiency and what it considers to be some type of stability and mobility in the movement patterns.
Yeah.
It grabs it, holds it, and it's dear life until you train it out of you, which is, what we deal with every day here. So that's why someone like you, even though you're an accomplished lifter, years of practice in this, once you get hurt, you're starting over almost.
Yeah.
It's just your exponential curve to get you where you want to go. But yeah, that's fun.
I haven't tried it with squats yet. I think it's because I'm scared.
Don't be scared. Go for it.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
I just did air squats this morning.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we'll get to me in a second though. You finish up.
But yeah, in terms of like the athletics and training, that's basically been that. I have stopped playing basketball finally.
I hung up my Converse.
Yeah, I'll probably get back, but I was like, right now, not the point.
It's a scary proposition. We just saw a patient come in who hurt himself, took a knee to the thigh.
Oh yeah, him.
Yeah. He came in, and this guy, talk about a zebra. The way he gets hurt is zebratic.
Yeah.
Is that a word? Zebratic?
It is.
Zebratic, yeah. Anyway, but he came in, he's like, playing basketball. And I looked right at Dave, and Dave's like, I know.
I know.
I was like, dude. Yeah. Oh, man. Because my last real stint of, I don't want to say competitive, because I was never really competitive at basketball, but playing against other people, that's the day I sprained both my ankles.
Yeah.
Sprained the left one, stepped off the court, felt better, stepped on 2 plays, sprained the right one. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm just not a basketball. For whatever reason, this sport and I, now mind you, I played volleyball for decades at a very high level, landing from really high in the air, sometimes on one leg. I never sprained my ankle, ever. Basketball, 1 game, 30 minutes in, done. It's like, what the?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
It's one of those weird sports where you're just going to lose to gravity.
Well, I think there's people that know how to land properly, like receivers.
Yeah.
McConkey, I can't even his name on top of my head right now. But these guys know how to get the ball and get out of the way of getting hit.
Yeah.
I never had that. I turned around like, hey guys.
Yeah.
That was my football experience. I got pummeled. My mom told me one time, she goes, do you actually see the other people on the field? I'm like,
nope.
Not always, no. And she's like, can you see? I'm like, oh, vision's fine.
Yeah.
I just don't know this game very well.
Oh, yeah.
It's just weird how it works.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I can generate force. Stopping it, we're okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of people's problems.
We're okay. And that's why we're here, and we're not, getting paid millions to go play with the ball.
Yeah, just that reason. That's it.
Yeah, that
was it. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, cool, man. Anything else going on in the week? Any patient success stories? Any pals and wows?
Yeah, so really just right before this one, patient came in. He's actually one of the kids that I coach for basketball.
Oh, yeah,
came in, and I understood his concern and frustrations with certain things because he was playing a summer league tournament. So, it's competitive basketball, but not really. So it's just to play. Yeah. It was funny because it was his second game. So whenever you play, back-to-backs on the same day, that's usually there's a high risk of any injury.
For sure, fatigue, for sure.
Fatigue, and also if he's just been playing all the time.
Like that, don't hydrate and eat. And,
no.
Yeah.
He said he was eating healthy, but I didn't dive into anything. So
I've been told by players that Crustables are healthy.
Yep.
Because there's natural peanut butter and jelly in it.
And the Chargers use it. So, it's high performance food.
Yeah, sure.
Anyways, back to what I was talking about here. It was the second game, third quarter, so the back half of everything. He took what I call the reactive step before you go sprint and stuff like that. So the step that happens when your foot is behind yourself before you really take off. He took one of those, and then he said he had no strength in his leg. So the first red flag in my head is like, just check the Achilles while we're there. Thankfully, it's still there, right? He was able to walk in.
You can usually tell by the way they walk on that one.
But he was definitely like limping into the office when he came in here. Yeah. So there was probably something going on with his calf. Kind of graded as like at least a grade 1 calf strain before we do anything else here.
Sure.
So we're having those discussions if he should be playing in the next tournament or not. I said probably not.
I mean, honestly, when you make those calls, I think I've been asked a few times, how do you determine that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because they're young. They got a career ahead of them, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
I have seen so many burnt out athletes because they're just tired of getting hurt.
Yeah.
They never actually really healed. I have a football player like that right now, came in again. He's just, at some point, you're just done.
Yeah. I told him, like, too, I was like, hey, I know you want to play, but there's also this point of, like, you're trying to play your senior year, which is this coming up year.
More important.
And this isn't necessarily really competitive basketball. It's just to play.
Unless he's got Duke watching him play, then I'm like, well, let's figure out something we can do. You know what I mean? Maybe let's not do any dunking.
Thankfully, that's not his game.
Yeah, right. So chill out on the rebounding.
Cool.
But work on your passing in some positions. Really focus on some pieces I could see. But
so at this point, I said, not to break his spirits. I said, hey, let's just go day by day, but I already kind of know where we're going to be at this one.
I've only seen a handful of miracles happen in 3 days where they got on the court and played.
Yeah.
It didn't, the way we judge it is can you get hurt worse than you already are?
Oh, yeah. And will
if
this
you
be
have
catastrophic?
A pulse calf, yes, you can.
Yeah.
The mechanism's already built in.
Mm-hmm.
You're good.
And I hate to bring up the injury, but we also kind of saw it in this NBA Finals. Tyrese Halliburton had a calf strain, and I mean, I get why he tried to go play.
Yeah,
it's a game 7.
Game 7, yeah.
Game 7. He did okay his last game, so there wasn't any full pain, but pain shouldn't be dictated on that. It's like, hey, what are these consequences? And that's one of them.
He might have made the decision to say, I'm willing to risk it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, these guys, you forget these kids are 22, 23.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of these, OKC is a very young team.
Yeah, and so is the Pacers.
Yeah.
So I understood if that was his decision. I understood why. Just
most players would make that call.
Yeah, and plus,
Think of the bloody sock.
Oh yeah,
That was an old
Same
man,
thing.
and he's like, I don't care.
And these are things that people dream of doing.
Yeah,
like, hey, it's a game
literally
7.
their whole
you
life.
do that. Right? Yeah. So
that's what's like.
Decide
His
anyone,
dream could come true as long as he takes this weekend off.
Yeah.
And doesn't put an end to that dream real fast.
Yeah.
So
that's been a fun one. So we're gonna have to have those harder conversations a little bit later, but it's gonna be out of his benefit. He already kind of knows I'm gonna lie off of that one, because I've kind of prepped it. But
sure.
Kind of wanted to give him some hope.
That's really the funny. That's funny you mentioned that.
Yeah.
That's kind of the secret of our job.
Yeah.
Is subconsciously prepping them, knowing full well where this is going.
Yeah.
And only by a pure, I almost say, act of God is this really going to be fix itself. But there's this we're going to let them down slowly. We'll give them a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
Just enough that they stay happy and do their work.
Yeah.
Do the rehab, take care of themselves, rest, do whatever.
Yeah.
But not enough that it's like dropping a bomb on them when we say no.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, kind of thing. But yeah, patients don't always listen either.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's always that variable.
It was a lot of the informed consent type of talks. Like, hey, this could happen if we do this. This is what could happen if it doesn't happen.
Worst case scenario, best case scenario. And, sometimes you got to put your big boy pants on and make a decision.
Yeah.
Our job is to make sure you make a smart decision.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Based on the
100%.
available information.
Yeah. So that was my morning. So that was a fun morning.
Oh, shoot.
Other thing this morning too, I had another firefighter come in. The best part, in the middle of the shift. So the rig just came out on the side. And it was great.
Favorite. But if you probably shouldn't talk about that loud. Like, never saw it. There's some other rig we saw drive by, so we don't know.
So firefighter came in. I'll see if I have to edit that one out. But yeah.
Yeah, those guys are, keep us busy for sure.
Yeah, I'll mark that just in case.
We're a minute 14:10. Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, so that was that. Love it when firefighters come in. They're always a fun case to kind of talk about.
It's always interesting because you talk about lifestyle. When you're talking about a genre where sleep, depending on the firehouse you're at, is, you're taking naps whenever you can because you're just getting a lot of calls. And so the recovery on them is not the best.
No.
So, yeah. Hats off to those guys, though. Thank you, guys.
That's my week. Basically.
That was a good week. It is midweek. So that's a good thing. Midweek. It's Monday.
Jeez, I don't even know anymore.
We made it to Monday.
We work the weekend sometimes, so it's all right. I just show up.
Wait till the season starts. Oh, Lord. I was just doing my schedule this morning, looking at some stuff, and I was like, wow, we got some. I have a couple. I think August gets a bit hairy.
No, I can see that.
But so, my week was, let's lead off with the good stuff. My pals and wows, right? My wows. So I actually did a leg workout this weekend.
Oh, nice.
This morning. Squats, some thrusts, some lunges, did some stuff. My back did not hurt at all.
Oh, wait, where's the applause button on that?
I mean,
that's G.
G. Hit it. There we go.
That deserves an applause.
Yes, it does. I was very proud of myself. Yeah. I told my wife, I said, that's all I'm trying to do this week is not hurt myself. And she started laughing, thinking, you have weird expectations. I'm like, maybe.
I don't know. That sounds pretty realistic to me.
I thought it was pretty awesome. Over the weekend, I had a nice talk. We're doing this whole talk we're doing here, but I had a good talk with a patient of mine about some of the stuff we're talking about. It's interesting how everybody in the world goes through the same processes of going online, basically. The internet bad. Just internet bad. That's all I can get to with all this thing. Let's see what else. Anything else client-wise? We had my tennis player who's understanding that lifting weights is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
That was good.
I'll say that for all athletes, too.
Yeah.
I don't care what sports you're in. The weights aren't bad. You're not going to get bulky. I've been trying. I'm still at the same
We're
weight.
still trying.
Yeah. To me, I've always said they are the closest thing to the fountain of youth that we've had.
Did we talk about the deadlift?
The minor?
No, about the football player.
We kind of mentioned it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay. We had a very interesting conversation about a player like at the college level that they don't deadlift. And then the dad had mentioned his other son, another college, doesn't deadlift. And I got a little like, That's weird.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I can't get past that piece. I feel like it should.
Like, I don't think they need to be doing maxes, but they need to be doing...
Not in season,
Yeah.
but off season? Absolutely.
Potentially,
Yeah. That's when you're safe. That's when you eat, nap, sleep, recover, see us. Like, but I was kind of interested because there's such a forced generation that you get, the power you get from that. It makes no sense. I think a lot of these guys do it on their own, if they do it at all.
Yeah.
But it was fascinating. You seem hesitant on that topic. But I take that over squatting twice a week.
No, that.
You know what I mean? It's like it's like if you do pull-ups all the time, never do dips or shoulder press or something, you're gonna mess up our body's a 3D entity.
Yeah.
You got to have a good balance in there with everything, and it's relatively, I do believe, a relative balanced strength component, meaning your deadlift and your squatting and your pull-ups and your benching should all kind of somewhat line up similarly. But I've had people have 310 back squat and like a 295 deadlift.
Which is weird.
I'm like, how?
Yeah. I'm just hesitant on the fact if they're doing it by themselves.
Well, there's always, the technical errors are always an issue.
Yeah.
And at some levels, this college player was telling me that there is they have one trainer for the school, and he's gone in there for football practice, and like it's been closed. Training's closed, and I was like,
yeah, that's tough. That's smaller school and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That was like that as one of the high school. Anyway, it's very interesting. But other than that, it's really, it's been a pretty chill week. We got some back stuff going on and normal stuff we're kind of getting into. So it's been a good week.
Yeah.
Nothing exciting. I'm doing better, so I'm happy about that. My wife's happy because I'm not walking around like an old man, which is always nice.
Yep.
I'm actually doing the rehab stuff the way I'm supposed to.
Nice.
Realizing how weak my stomach actually was. I hadn't had abs in forever.
I think you mentioned it, like just getting into extension actually helped your low back. So we're trying to go
so
into that rabbit hole.
There's an interesting thing. So what it looks like I have, the thing we figured out was a small tear in a dorsal sacral ligament right on top of my SI joint, and then a small tear of my glute med.
That makes sense when we're working
when
on
you
that.
start pulling all together, yeah. And so when it kind of hurts, but then I can set myself up and it doesn't hurt. It's like, because you have a disc problem. There's no setting yourself up so it doesn't hurt. It just hurts.
Yeah.
So I was very happy about that piece because that's the same spot from, years ago. And that's no picnic. So so we'll see what happens. I'm getting my PRP shot next Friday.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I was told to be chill for a day and then walk a little bit for the next couple of days.
Yeah.
So I'll come back in Monday and we'll have a podcast here and I'll talk all about it. But I'm very excited about that.
Talk to you with BFR. It could be fun.
Yeah. Right. So I know I'm supposed to do that. And I know. It's because I can't lift what I want to lift. And doing push-ups with BFR on is horrible.
No, I hate it. I give it to everyone.
Yeah, I'm good. I know. It's absolutely, again, do as I say, not as I do, okay?
Oh, yeah.
That's how this thing rolls. All right, well, speaking of rolls, so I'm going to roll on in. Kind of a funny joke from back in the day. So what we were talking about last time, we get into flexibility mode. And it's an interesting topic because flexibility, mobility, stability, motor control, it's a semantic game that gets kind of clustered and plugged all together, and people use this word instead of that word and whatever. And
they're fun buzzwords online.
It's clickbait like nobody's business. And I've learned more and more that what we're getting into is a contrarian state of social media, meaning that, especially in our world, in the world of healthcare, and more to the point of exercise and movement, like fundamental movement patterns, and using that as a tool to help fix pain and problems, is becoming the next like click, like just these quick sales. Like I look them up and I try to keep up. So when patients walk in, they say, well, I read such and such and so and so. And I look at them like, okay, I've never heard of that. So let's try this now. And I get these weird like looks on their faces like, but this said and that said. And so, I think I talked last time about flexibility. I went down a rabbit hole with the toe touch thing. Some really smart people talk about it the same way. And I think it's because at some point you have to be able to relate to people in ways and terminology they understand.
Yeah.
And with this particular podcast that I was so excited about was really getting to the nitty gritty without going too crazy in the science and helping people better understand what these concepts are, not just so they can speak it better, but most importantly, so they can figure out what it is they actually need to do. So a lot of people mix up a mobility factor with a flexibility factor, not realizing the lack of flexibility can inhibit the mobility. And if you don't have good motor control and stability, you got nothing.
Yeah.
It's a bleep show. So I'm going to automatically put that in there.
Yeah.
So,
me sometime.
all right. So we ended with flexibility last time, and we were talking about basically, can I put my body into a position passively, which is kind of what flexibility is. So for example, when we're out there, if you're lying on your back, grab your leg right behind your knee, pull the leg all the way up in your knee to your chest as far as it can go. If you can get up pretty far, that's flexibility. That's it. You're moving the limb yourself or somebody's moving it for you. That's it. That's where it kind of ends. Put a strap around your foot and pull the leg straight up and just see how far your hamstring will let you go. The only time that's really concerning is if you passively can't get into positions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we use that as part of our assessment with people when we're checking them out, because it can mean that something's wrong with the joint itself.
Yeah.
And that's where you get pathology, tears, arthritis. I'm going to say it a new way, and I'm going to blast the online world. And everything talking about arthritis now.
There you go.
But that's how you can cause arthritis or bone sores. Like all these pathologies can pop up in the shoulder and the knee, the hip, everywhere else, back. And that's where you get these limitations. Now, the back's harder spine because there's not
multiple,
a ton of
There's also a bunch of joints in there too.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of movement there. You know, you get much more from somewhere else. So
like 5 to 10 degrees per whatever.
Yeah, it's very limited. That's I always love how did you get that 5 to 10 is a big jump. Anyway, so that's the concern. So if we're checking basic range of motion, which is like part of what we do just through a basic assessment or orthopedic exam, you're seeing if they can get in those positions. Once you can, that is now off the table. Now we've left flexibility behind. Now we're moving on to mobility, stability, motor control, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Now here's the funny part. Here's the piece I forgot by talking about it. But motor control plays a role in everything. Yeah. Right? And that's the funniest part, because I started looking down exercises, what's this and what's that. And it gets interesting real fast because all of a sudden you have exercises that cross over. Yeah. And that gets kind of fun, although challenging. So what we want to talk I'm going to actually ask Dave. Dave's a young doc. He just came out. I graduated in 2004. You graduated in
22.
22. Yeah. It's been that long already.
Yeah. I almost said 21, then I realized no.
I hope we say 24 because then 24 and 4, 20. So great. Anyway, so he graduated more recently. So what was your experience in school with teaching you motor control, mobility, stability, like the whole thing?
Yeah, they were. I think they kind of expected you to know, because they'd kind of pass over some of the terms and be like, oh yeah, this is this is that. So after like reading through some of the stuff and like talking to people, because I realized I'm better when I just talk to people than sit down and read a book all the time. The flexibility, it's the passively. How do you get there passively, right? And then they would always put it in black and white to mobility. So if we're talking about flexibility, it's all passive. If we're talking about mobility, it's all active, right? And then for stability, it was how well you can hold a position for a set amount of time.
Yeah. I mean, the real dumbed down way is flexibility, can you get there? Mobility, how well do you get there?
Can you get there?
Or can you get there? Thank you. And then stability is how well you get there. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was along those lines, but
that's not bad, though.
They would just kind of pass through it and call it good. So they would often group exercises as this is a flexibility exercise, a mobility exercise, or a stability exercise, and you take your test. Right? But as you know, they all kind of blend at some point.
Here's the interesting part when you really dive into what movement specialists or experts are supposed to be doing, right? Yeah. So the first thing is assessing. The assessment's the biggest thing in the world. Yeah. Which is why the internet bad. That internet bad.
Yeah. Back pain, do this.
Yeah. Okay, it's an algorithm. Yeah. And it's unfortunately a lot of scripts, whether you're PT, chiro, whatever, they'll script it out. Low back pain, do this. Hip pain, do this. And they forgot to structure it in a way that first you need, and you know me, I'm the biggest, like, don't throw a mobility solution at a stability problem. Oh yeah. But they have to have baseline mobility, or the ability to move into a position before you can really do much else. Yeah. Yeah. The caveat is by the time you have pain, now we're in a whole another stratosphere, because that just complicates everything. Yeah. Because when you think about it this way, if you sprain your ankle and you start limping, then when the pain's gone, you still limp. It doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah. So we have to fix something.
Yeah. And people out there are like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, you're walking fine. You don't feel anything. But if I were to take a video camera and put you on a weight plates on opposite sides, you're going to be distributing your weight differently and moving at different tempos from side to side.
Well, I still am with my knee.
Well, your knee, The ACL is a big one. Yeah. Right? And a lot of times we get stuck in this is why we tell people, we're offering this stuff for free. Get an assessment. Come see us. 30 minutes. We'll walk you through something. This is why we developed that. We'll have people come in, and I used to be consider myself the bottom of the funnel doc, meaning that I'm at the bottom. They're going to see a bunch of people first. They're going to funnel their way down to me. And now we've got 6-8 months removed from an injury. I have one that came in. She was a sweetheart. She had her big toe, her first, what's the name of the bone after that? First
metatarsal?
MCP?
Metatarsals?
Metatarsals. There you go. Yes. Like I said, it's been 20 years. I forgot these words by now. But all of those were bolted together. Why? Because she had fallen arch. So they bolted those together, put the arch in there, and she came to me and said, I can help with all her foot pain.
That's
And I was like, you just eliminated.
Was there any break or was it just...
No, just fallen arches. Yep.
Okay.
Little, what do they call it? The little corn on the toe?
Oh, the head of the metatarsals, that one?
No, when the big toe is crooked.
Oh,
bone growth. What's it called?
Bunion.
Bunion.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, my brain is not doing well today. So she had a little bunion thing in there, a little fallen arch, and the goal was surgery, just bolt it all together and she'll be fine. So the point of that story is very long. Edit that out. That was horrible. But anyway, point is that by the time she got to my office, so much had happened, that rabbit hole was really far. So we have to go back and go, okay, I can assess your foot, right? Mm-hmm. But you've just taken the flexibility out of the equation, right? It's unable to be mobilized in any way, shape, or form. And the stability now is a question because the feedback system is way off. Mm-hmm. So those are the complicated cases when you have pain. Now, that's extreme, of course, but you got somebody with back pain, or like me, I tweak my little SI joint or what have you. I'm not moving normally. Yeah. So the great thing is when you get into it and you go, okay, what's our first thing to do? We got to fix the mobility, right? We got to fix the pain. Mm-hmm. Fix the pain first. Got to get you out of pain. Because if you can't move without pain, like your knee, you had pain, you had to wait a couple weeks till the pain was gone. Why? If you try to rehab somebody who's in pain, like without something passive, like we give clams or pelvic tilts or something very passive and easy, because we can't do much else until the pain's gone. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we're just kind of hardening a pattern into them. So where was I going with that? Yep. So anyway, so when you have these cases coming in, I'm all over the place. When we have these cases where we're trying to assess a mobility issue or a stability issue and actually put them in front of us and assess them, which the internet cannot do, we have to take that piece into account. Mm-hmm. And that pain piece is a big one. So,
yeah, I agree. Like part of our questions is like, okay, how did you hurt yourself? Let's say it's just off a deadlift. Some of the questions I'll start to ask, I'm like, okay, was it when you started, when you got up, once you were done? Because it gives us different ideas of like, okay, is this a mechanical issue, or is this a movement issue, or is this because you can't brace your core at a specific part, or is it just because like, hey, you definitely overdid it that day, and then everything was tight. That piece too, yeah. So that kind of deals with some of this mobility, stability issues, especially on a deadlift. There's a lot of stability things that we have to talk about.
Yes.
Less so flexibility on that one. But yeah.
That's the interesting part, right? Because once you load it against gravity. Mm-hmm. So here's where I do differ in some of the really smart people out there who talk about these things. I differ in one sense. They talk about the toe touch, and there are progressions in toe touch. Toe touch and toes up, heels up, blah, blah, blah. Weighted, all good stuff. Jefferson curl, those are great. Yeah. The only thing I differ is once gravity's in play, there are a lot of it, like one of the things they put into was a 90 and 90 was considered a mobility exercise. Mm-hmm. And I thought, kind of. But you need to have a decent core. T-spine has to move, which is kind of, I guess, mobility with flexibility mixed in. And then you have to be able to stabilize yourself while you're moving your legs back and forth.
So it's a yes.
So exactly, yeah. I get these three rungs that are all intertwined. And flexibility is kind of, it's an easier portion of it all. Boy, it gets tricky after that. Mm-hmm. So when I see a patient come in and I see somebody has I did the assessment last week. She has a beautiful squat. Put her in a single leg position, her knee caves in, her body falls over, things fall apart. Mm-hmm. So we naturally, I guess you can say, check her flexibility by putting her on the table on her back. Mm-hmm. And then I just thought this morning, another thing we'd add to that, which is really cool, is have them do the mobility check, which is pull your knees to your chest without touching them on your own. But think about this for a second. If I'm doing that, that's hip flexion. Mm-hmm. What other muscles am I using?
Well, she's pulling them across too. So
yeah, but she's using her abdominals. Yeah. So what if they're weak? It's going to look labored. Mm-hmm. So is that a mobility problem or is that a strength problem now?
Could be both.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And this is why I got excited about talking about this, because I started looking at all the what ifs, like playing devil's advocate, which I told you I was going to do. And I remember that too. But it's like one of those things where you go, okay, I'm pulling my knees in, but hip flexion takes a lot more than just hip flexors or rectus femoris or whatever. You have to have other pieces in there. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yes, you just need to be in the office. Like I was trying to how do you do this in a way where you can figure it out on your own? Mm-hmm. It's impossible. Yeah. Like the way you move, like the way you strategize the movement, pulling the knees to your chest, touching your toes, doing a squat, doing a lunge, whatever. Mm-hmm. That strategy inside of you is that's what we need to see, because that's where the fails are, when they're falling apart.
Yeah, like rarely when we're talking about just human motion rather than just like hip motion, right? It's more than just like, oh, I'm bringing my knee to my chest, so it's a hip thing. Like, no, your back is moving too, your SI is moving too, your knees are moving. Like, there's a lot of components that kind of come together to make that motion happen.
Even without gravity.
Mm-hmm. So if this is a hip problem, did we just fully assess the hip or did we just assess your motion? That there's difficulties in understanding, like, is it just that or that because of the stability mobility issues.
Right.
So,
and it's interesting because so the basic general medical approach these days is going to be one of body parts versus movement patterns. Yeah. So, like, how many patients come in? This is a legit question. How many patients come in and say, I've seen so-and-so, whatever, massage, PT, chiro, whatever it is. And you ask him, oh, okay, great. What were the treatments and what helped? And every treatment is so focused
on just that,
on just where the pain is. And it's like they're chasing the pain. Yeah. They're chasing the symptom as opposed to, well, why is the pain there? How did it get right there? And that's the interesting part about this deep dive is about what makes us movement specialists. That's what we're looking at. We're trying to figure that piece out. Because while you have pain doing a bench, it isn't so much the body part that's the problem. It's the system as a whole that's not moving very well. Yeah. And so, could we clear up the mobility stability issue any better than that? What are we talking about here?
We're talking about
mobility is going to be what? Define mobility. I like that. You had a good definition.
Yeah, and I was setting it up while I was setting stuff up, so hopefully it's close.
Pretty close.
It was the ability of the body to actively get through a range of motion and control that. So I'm trying not to use the word control, but control is going to have to be in both.
It has to be.
Yeah. So it's the ability to actively control a range of motion to get to those positions, right?
That's it.
Stability is more like, can you control that position in static portion or throughout the ranges of motion at specific points?
And it even goes one further, which is what makes us, when you look at sports, it's like, it's also, can you do this under load or at speed? Yeah. And so the most common injury, let's talk Achilles, because that's a big one right now. Yeah. Monster.
Even in baseball, it happened recently.
And everybody's like, why? It's because people will sometimes, and this happens to some of the best trainers I know, they'll get stuck into some new thing and we'll forget some of the basic things. Yeah. Sometimes we forget that. And so when you're talking about slowing down a body in motion, right? Or creating, like with the one who did it, I think his actually started to tear when he stepped backwards. Yeah. And then when he tried to accelerate, it snapped because it was already weakened. Yeah.
And he already had a calf strain going on.
Yeah.
So there's too many things.
We don't know what degree. Yeah. And the funny thing is somebody said, we had an MRI, I think. I was like,
it just tells you it's
torn.
It
doesn't tell you. Yeah. Like I said, I always use my body because it's metal's coming soon. Right. And so I had an MRI of my knee, which did not show an ACL tear, did not show a meniscus tear. Nowhere on the MRI to see
that's different. Yeah.
They go in to have surgery. I have a meniscal tear and ACL tear. So it doesn't always catch everything. So when you go in there with that, like a strain, there wasn't really a degree of how bad that strain was. So underlying problem, bingo, right there. Yeah. And then he just got bad. And again, we know why he did it or why he chose if he did. Yeah. However that worked out, I get it. But that's the interesting part is you have to have flexibility, which is basic. And most of us have it. Again, nobody's really going to have tight muscles per se. But they can have a dysfunctional joint or a dysfunctional system around that, the mobility component. And then the inability to control that movement too.
100%. Plus, you throw on the wild card of sport because anything could just happen at any moment. We sometimes just don't know. It might happen, right?
Yeah, never know. Yeah. I mean, it just, like literally my knee tweaked the first time I was stepping backwards on a volleyball court.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Just bink, down the floor.
It could be that. I know someone that was just messing around with his sons. He was doing the floss dance. And
the who?
The floss dance. It's the weird, stupid dance.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, he's doing that.
I still can't do that.
Tore his meniscus. I was like, out of all the things you could have done, you did it with that. So when we talk about life sports, sometimes it just happens.
Yeah. And so the question comes down. This is where the crux of it is. Which one's more important?
I guess the question comes back to like, what do you need?
Non-sport related, just life.
Life. If I had to take an argument, I'd probably put stability and mobility first before we talk about flexibility. Probably more so stability. I usually see people undertrained.
Okay. Yeah. In theory, this is theory again. I don't always agree with the mainstream. I'm almost somewhat contradictory to it all sometimes, contrarian in a sense. But I will say this. Yes, you have to have basic flexibility. That's just there. Yeah. But like I said, not a lot of people, unless there's pathology involved, that's not a big issue. And by pathology, I mean, I got a guy who's got 2 hip replacements. Yeah, he doesn't have normal range of motion. He's not going to. But what we can do is get him good mobility and stability within what he has. Yeah. That's the big thing. And that goes against a little bit because some people say, if you don't have X, Y, and Z for mobility, then you can't stabilize that. Well, if that X, Y, Z mobility is all you have for flexibility, then you can, is my argument. And then mobility is supposed to go next. And then stability. Now, here's the only way to think about it. Because I do find that we probably have mixed up terms in different plays in different ways. If you think about it from a sense of motor control is sometimes what we're doing versus stability. And then stability comes in after the fact. Most patients, by the time you get to a phase where you're past the motor control development, meaning you can control these movements now, but you haven't put them under duress, i.e. perturbation, catching objects, single leg and moving, decelerating, like all those pieces at speed with objects. If you haven't done that, you haven't really got into the stability phase yet, right? We try to get there, but again, we definitely cannot take somebody in pain and do stability with them.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea. We can take somebody in pain and put in a motor control situation to them so that they can learn to control their body parts a little better. Now, the fascinating thing I found out, and this is stuff, again, I hadn't really thought about in years, you can give somebody a motor control solution to their pain that's actually also a stability or mobility or both, because there is those rungs that kind of cross over. And that's the part that's interesting when you talk about, like people out there who say, you know, go see a doctor and they go see somebody. If they're not thinking about all this and processing all this for you, they're just there for pain mitigation. And that's the part you have to be careful of, because you get rid of that pain and you get the false positive, like, oh, pain's gone, therefore I'm moving better. Not so much. Yeah, not so much at all. You and I think that, and pain gone, let's go squat heavy now. So that's true. We're wrong, by the way. We're not right.
Not all the time. We're not right about that.
Not right at all. So it's interesting when you deep dive into these things like, okay, this is this concept, this is that concept. But to bring this back to earth for everybody else out there, for people who are just trying to figure this out, what we're saying is flexibility is something you kind of work on just generally stretching or what have you, and that's a good thing to do. Mobility is kind of like where you really want to get that body under control, moving through these phases, being able to do an air squat, do these things. And you can have limitations in your calf or your hip or your this, but I have seen just as many people with bad flexibility do a beautiful squat as people with wonderful flexibility do a wonderful squat. And then vice versa. Great flexibility, can't do a squat. So those little things in there are what we do best, what we look for, but it's a very fascinating process to watch.
I agree with like stability usually being number one on these things. Like I said a little bit earlier, I mentioned it. So I see most people are usually undertrained. So we have to work on that, because like if you aren't stable and you're trying to push weight or you're trying to push a ball, throw a ball, catch a ball, and you have energy that's leaking, especially on the athletic level, you are just putting more strain on other systems of the body, which could lead to injury.
Other tissues.
There's
no choice.
I'm not saying if you don't have any stability, you're 100% getting injured. It's just, you're just increasing the risk every single time. So with that being said, like, we should probably work on those other things. Even with like the flexibility thing, sometimes it's genetic. Like you only have so much, or you have a lot just naturally.
It's interesting because you can have hypermobile joints.
Yeah, it's 100% true.
That's true.
It's not it's not double jointed. You're hyper flexible at this point. Hypermobile
just means the joints go past their stopping point for normal. So you have to be very conscientious of controlling usually the elbows and knees. Your biceps, you have to really make sure. It doesn't mean it's not other places like shoulder and hip, which can cause pathology, but you definitely, the hinge joints do not like being hypermobile. Not even a little bit.
No, they don't. Not at all. Yeah. So with all that being said, it's like, we got to work on these things to protect you. And I know flexibility and mobility are big terms online because they sound cool. One of my favorite sayings is, get yourself some mobility and get yourself some mobility. At least what everyone was telling me. It's true if you're sitting all the time. You might need some mobility because you're not moving.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you might be weak too. So let's work on both.
It does. Yeah. So it's kind of like this, chicken and the egg.
100%.
You know, if you're lacking stability, you might begin to lack mobility to create a sense of stability. And vice versa, if you lack mobility, your body can't stabilize yourself because you can't even get there to stabilize it. So that's again what we talk about, the internet bad. I'm going to keep saying that because of those things. You have to see, if I have somebody come with a shoulder problem, I got to look at their T-spine.
Oh yeah, I was actually doing that today.
Yeah, if you don't look at the T-spine, you are missing a huge chunk of shoulder stuff.
Yeah, I can talk about that patient. That was fun. It was
please.
Person. He just happened to be a firefighter and came in, strained his neck, or there was like a big muscle spasm going on the left side. Was it that? Yeah, it was a big muscle spasm going on the left side. Horrible T-spine mobility, and he got it from golfing. So like, where's that rotation coming from?
Not his T-spine.
No. Yeah. So it's either it has to go to the neck or it has to go to the low back, at least for pain. I told him, like, I know he has limited time right now, so we'll go over it another day because he had to go back on a call. But like, we'll go back over the other day, and makes more sense because if I just attack the neck, which I kind of had to do because of certain time limitations and things like that, you'll feel better, but it doesn't mean it'll go away.
Nope. And remember too, it's kind of like some of the gym culture back in the day. Sometimes, you know, the CrossFit gyms and things like that got bigger and better. Some of the trainers had to program certain ways because that's what people wanted. May not have been the best programming, but what the people wanted. So when we come in, we have this fine line too. We have to do our job as doctors, which is what's it called? Informed consent.
Yeah.
We need them to understand everything that's going on. At the same time, some people don't want that. They're like, just get me out of pain so I can go do what I want.
Yeah.
And this is where I think the communication between doctor and patient, and we talked this before, like remember when you see a doctor, it's a mutual interview. At least it should be.
Yeah.
You know, if I have a patient, I'm like, we're not going to get along because I'm homework heavy and you are homework deterrent.
Yeah.
Like you want nothing to do with it, right? So we're going to have problems to begin with, right? I'm not here just to get paid. I'm here to actually accomplish a goal with you, a task. Point A to point B, get you there and get you done.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting part when you get to somebody like pickleball, for example.
Yeah.
For the love of God, there are a lot of people that should not be just jumping out and playing pickleball, but they are. And they're tearing this and hurting that and twisting that and tweaking this. I have no problem with you playing pickleball, but there's certain things you have to do first. Tennis, golf, any rotary sport really is a big one, especially in the T-spine. But there is this idea like somehow I'm going to take 6 months off, 6 years off and not play a sport, walk back out and start playing a sport with a boatload of other problems going on in your body. Yeah. And that's what I was referring to earlier. I was babbling on. That's what it's like when you come in as a new patient because we're trying to figure out exactly what's in front of us. How long have you been like this?
Yeah.
And not just in your mind, because when you feel it, it just now got to a crisis situation.
Yeah.
Prior to that, you didn't really feel it or you ignored it or you took pain meds. So the problem existed. So that's what we're trying to unwind too.
100%.
So it's an interesting, that's why I say I love this topic because it is fascinating to me how you can just kind of like, you got all these overlays and then you throw in all of our patients or athletes, weekend warriors or what have you. So we're always trying to intertwine these things like fix this or do this, you have to do this, you have to do that. How many of your patients actually comply with your homework?
It depends on how close they are to crisis. It's basically,
Pain's a motivator.
Yeah, pain's a motivator. Or if you kind of bring up, like I had to bring up with that other patient, like, hey, the Achilles tear it can be on the list if we're not doing anything. Then they start to listen, right? I'm not trying to scare them into it. I'm just trying to lay out the facts on things. But yeah, if it's just I hurt my low back once, they might not.
No, that's the thing. Yeah, once the pain's gone, most, as I said earlier, we have this, I hate to say protocol, but it's more like an algorithm that's patient dependent. In some way, so we don't go from this box to this box until this box, all the boxes are checked inside there. When it is, now we can move to whatever it is for the next thing for the patient because everybody's very different. Most of our patients, once we get kind of out of pain and they feel good enough, are gone. They're nowhere near fixed. But they're kind of in that space now where they're kind of good enough. So it's interesting to jump on the topic when you're sitting here going, people like, okay, we need you to move better. We don't. We need you to move better. We'll figure ourselves out.
That's why you just talk through one rep, show them how it's good, and then you kind of go from there.
Yeah. I mean, I have a patient now coming in. He's consistent each week. He wants to completely revamp the way he moves and fix it. And he's moving better, but he's still challenged. He's getting a little frustrated now because it's been 6-7 weeks now.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, you don't have pain. Just got back from a cruise. He said, trying to do single leg work on a boat.
That's difficult.
Way more challenging than anticipated. I was like,
because the whole thing's moving.
I was like, I'm very proud of you for pulling it off because he realized, and this is another thing, he had neglected a couple of vacations here and there where he was starting to do well, and then he went on vacation, didn't do anything. So now he's 7-8 days off. That's almost like a complete reboot. So he had to go back and redo it again because these things are, depending on your age. Like you're younger, I'm older, so it's going to be harder for me than it'll be for you if it happens. But if you don't keep up with them, and he asked me why, I have to get that in a second. But for those out there, if you don't keep up with your rehab on a daily basis, your mobility, whatever it is, on a daily basis, your stability exercises, whatever it is, on a daily basis, your body's going to revert back because, say, 30 to 45 minutes of good exercise or good rehab routine or good whatever is going to be offset by 3 hours of sitting.
Yeah.
Not just the sitting, and this is the funny part, when I said this and explained this to him, is like the light bulb finally went off. If I'm sitting here and I'm at work, how many times am I getting up and out of my chair and back down to my chair again? 10, 20, 30, almost. 50?
For how long?
Who knows? The whole day. Just one day. Like, think about
that's generous for some people.
Yeah, well, that's fair. But say getting out of bed, breakfast, driving, like getting out of the car, in and out of the office, putting notes, sitting to eat, getting water, like all these times. Every time you get up, because doing the right exercises for 4 or 5 days in a row doesn't fix 10 years of bad patterns.
No.
Right? You're going to revert back. So every squat you do that's bad, squat being getting out of the chair or in and out of the car, in and out of bed, every bad one is another step backwards from where you were with the exercises. That's why we hound people, like, get them throughout the day. Like, got to keep doing them. But those patternings are what we're talking about. So you can stretch and mobilize and roll and thumper gun and do all the things you want to do. But if you're not consistent with the actual fixing of what's going on with the way you move, none of that other stuff really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we covered most. You know
I still have more to talk about, but that's fine. I think I got you on a slow day today.
No, I'm just trying to make sure it's concise for them. We're at 40 minutes.
Yeah, they're fine. Here, you can cut this piece out and then put this in front or do this as a clip.
Okay.
Real simple. The bottom line is, if you, regardless of whether you have pain or not, don't go to the internet because it is bad. You're going to find whatever pops up that was paid for, the most clicked on or what have you, but that doesn't have anything to do with you because you can only put input in that machine the information that you think or you feel, which doesn't always tell the machine what it needs to hear to get where it wants to go.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times patients will tell us stuff that really doesn't help us get to where we need to go because they're trying to describe their pain. We're trying to figure out the problem. So when you're looking at these things, there are basic things like lying on your back and bring your knees to your chest. Can you bring your arms overhead without your arching your low back? Things like that are good too, but you have to get looked at and you have to figure out what these things are because when we talk about this, and this is just from my heart, from a doctor to people out there, when we have them come in, there are people that leave that we sometimes are bummed out because we can see a path they're going on that we don't want them to go down. We know we can help them, and whether they don't really want to put the effort out, which happens sometimes, or somehow something gets lost in translation in there and we can't quite get them to understand how real this is, you're going to want to do that before that bad thing pops up. Crisis patient is not just, I have a serious amount of pain. It also means now I'm damaging tissue. And the one thing about the body, the one thing that kind of sucks, it's a finite machine when it comes orthopedically. Our liver can regenerate, lungs can regenerate. Like, that's really cool stuff. Our body, ligaments, tendons, things like that, once you start tearing and breaking those down, that's kind of it. So these are things you should just take time to address. Simple as that. Mobility is a good thing. Stability is a good thing. Motor control resides in both of them, the way you control those things. But you have to make sure you're addressing all of those.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're missing everything else.
Oh, yeah. 100%. 100%.
So, all right. With that soapbox, I will resign myself to say thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, throw it in the message box or DM box.
I say
what do you call it? DM box?
Everyone says it differently.
Yeah. And we'll get back to you. We love hearing questions or ideas we can talk about because we have hours of things we can talk about. Give us some feedback. Love to hear it. I am Doc T.
And Dr. David.
We'll see you next time, guys.